with me, James O Reilly, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:30 to 9:30, bringing you lots of different things to help you with your business English. So, what have I got for you today? Well, let me have a look over here. While I'm chatting to you, I'm going to be talking to you about what's happening in the news. When we wrapped up yesterday, to wrap up is to finish. So what was happening at the end, we're going to look at what was happening when we were sleeping at nighttime. We're going to be looking at, let me see over here, the value of doing an internship. We're going to be looking at soft skills in work. Also, we're going to then jump on to our word of the day, phrasal verb of the day, idiom of the day. I'm going to look at 10 popular customer service phrases and how to use them. Lots of stuff today. Top 10 skills managers need, and then the difference between management and leadership. So quite a bit to talk about. I'm going to be giving you, as we go along, I'm going to be giving you vocabulary, expressions, how they are used in context, because English, as you know, it's a bit crazy, and when we use English, it's all about context. So one word can just completely mean something different in a different context. Anyway, first things first, I want to have quickly check, because I just heard breaking news that there was a earthquake in Istanbul. So I want to quickly check and make sure it's okay over there, because I do have interest over there, family there, and of course they're expecting what they call is, we say they're expecting the big one. The big one is always, when you talk about earthquakes, that's the one that people are waiting. So hoping that everybody is safe in Istanbul. It's a very, very populated city. And I know that in recent years, they have been working on the quality of the buildings. A lot of buildings go up very commonly there. So you're hoping that everything is okay. That's breaking news. We're going to keep our eye on that carefully. Okay. So let me now, yes, it is coffee morning. I hope you guys have your coffee ready. My son was streaming the other day, so I had to quickly find something to put on the board behind me. I don't know if you guys can see. It's a ripoff. I was sitting with my son while we were doing the streaming, and I couldn't think of a phrase or an expression to put on, so I just put "it's a ripoff." What does that mean? That expression in English means when something is too expensive for what you get. It's kind of like una estafa or un timo, but in the sense of it's just too expensive really for what it is. So if you go in and you have a meal and you don't get anything special, it's not a very special cafe or restaurant. Let's just imagine we get a croissant, a cup of coffee, a croissant and a cup of coffee, and it comes to €10. Well, that's a rip-off. It's a rip-off. So it's a rip-off. Whatever you would use in that sense in your language, in English we say it's a rip-off. So that can be anything for flights or buying clothes or anything you want. It's a rip-off. That's going to be the expression behind me for the duration of this this stream. Right, so let's jump in and have a look at our first topic. Bring you over to the world behind me here. And while I try and get the first one up, the first one I'm going to look at is the end of while we were sleeping. Let's have a look at that. Not entirely interesting, but we'll blow through it as quick as we can. Right, let's have a look. I'm going to read it for you. We're going to look at the what we want to focus on here, really, guys, is helping you with some vocabulary, okay? I'll make myself a little bit smaller here so you can see. And as you can see, it's France, Northern Ireland, Moldova, the news of the night. So let's have a look through. It's only going to take us 3 minutes to get through this. Budgets, presupuestos. Elizabeth Bourne draws the 49.3 for the fifth time. This is something I believe in France. It's where they can do something in the constitution to make sure that parts can go through. The Prime Minister once again engaged the responsibility of her government on Monday on a budget text in the Assembly. Okay, so this is when the government really wants to pass a budget. She triggered 49.3, so this is 49.3 of the Constitution after only 3 hours of debate on the revenue part of the 2023 Social Security draft budget. Okay, so the word I want to look at here is to trigger, and this is to cause or to, and somebody told me what this was in class yesterday, a student of mine. So the trigger is this on a gun. This part is that you pull the trigger to shoot the gun, and it's going to annoy me so much. I'm going to look this up in on the dictionary. Family are safe in Istanbul, thank God. And I'm going to use my volume and my voice. Trigger. Okay. Very useful, these dictionaries. They're free. You can get one. I'm using word reference. You can use what you want, Google, anything you like. Okay. Disparar. Disparó would be she triggered, I suppose. It looks like. Disparó. Or provocar. Yes, if you trigger something to cause, you can provocar. Desencadenar. So that's what to trigger is, depending, of course, on the context. As usual, when we're talking about English, 49.3 after 3 hours of debate. Okay, so what is this all about? The text provides for measures on prevention or even medical deserts. Right. While the 49.3 section is on one. Okay, it's basically passing budget for Social Security. I hope it's a good one. That's in France. London wants to cut the salaries of Northern Irish MPs. Okay, I don't know if you guys know. Northern Ireland belongs to politically belongs to the UK, and the UK is Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales and England. That is the United Kingdom. Britain is Wales, Scotland and England. And with Northern Ireland included, it becomes the United Kingdom. So the Northern Irish MPs, members of Parliament, the British government presented a bill to Parliament on Monday to reduce the allowances of elected officials in Stormont, which is the name of the government building in Northern Ireland, after months of paralysis in the local assembly due to post-Brexit disagreements. So it's a bit messy because of Brexit and Northern Ireland, creating a soft border between Ireland and Northern Ireland, not to create any problems within Europe. Currently, MPs are not able to fulfill all of their responsibilities, so it's normal that we act to reduce their salaries. So I think there generally a lot of disagreements in that area of in Northern Ireland due to the different sectors of society, and often they won't work with each other. So the government is deciding that if you're not going to work, you're not going to get paid. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Here's a word down here is political deadlock. Deadlock is where there is no agreement. You cannot reach an agreement. Okay, so if you're talking about negotiations, for your business and you reach deadlock, this is where the negotiations have stalled or are not moving forward because there is a deadlock, political deadlock, or a deadlock in negotiations. Deadlock is not moving forward, no agreement for the time being. Moving on then, and then in the French news, Macron announces new aid help of 100 million euros to Moldova. Paris has decided to grant this envelope as part of an aid program discussed at the third ministerial conference of support for the small neighboring country of Ukraine. Okay, so that sounds like, okay, we'll give you some money, Moldova. Make sure you don't get involved with Russia. Don't be on Russia's side. Moscow has halved its gas deliveries to the Moldovans, and electricity exports from Ukraine are made impossible by Russian strikes. Okay, so Europe trying to make sure that Moldova is on our side. Russia is cutting gas supplies. The small country, it's a very poor country, so I believe. The small country of 2.6 million inhabitants, heavily dependent on Russian energy before the war, and is increasingly seeking or looking. To seek is to look. When we say escondite, I was explaining to my students yesterday, escondite is in English hide and seek. Hide and seek in English. Hide and seek. That's what the children play. 2.6 million and heavily dependent on Russian energy, is increasingly seeking to forge closer ties with the West. Candidates since June for entry into the EU, Moldova is also threatened militarily by Russia, with the presence of Russian soldiers on Moldovan territory in the pro-Russian separatist region of Transnistria. Yeah, it's a strange little area of Moldova that is... let's have a look at the map. I've seen interesting little documentary. If you're looking for interesting documentary about, not documentary, but just, there's a guy, he's a really interesting YouTuber, and he goes around the ex-Soviet states, all these, in Russia, the ex-Soviet states, and here we have Moldova. And I think if we do this layer, if we just zoom out again just to show you where it is in relation to Ukraine. I mean, it's not that small. It's small in relation to Ukraine, but there is a part of this it should normally come up in red, but it's called Transnistria, and it's along this border here. It's a strange little place, and it belongs, it's kind of like a Russian separatist area of the country, so that's not something you want on your western flank. Flank is kind of lateral, and so that's what's happening with Moldova. It's an EU candidate. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens there. Okay, what I'm going to do now is... it's just something a little bit interesting I want to show you guys. Did you know, often we have people complaining that Gibraltar belongs to the United Kingdom, or belongs to the British. Okay, and you have... Let's see if... it's probably better to look at it in this one. So we have Gibraltar down here, and people complaining in Spain, understandably maybe, that Gibraltar is should be given back to Spain. But however, you have the argument that other people use is that you have Melilla over here on arguably Moroccan territory, and Ceuta. Interesting article on Ceuta about crime the other day. You have Ceuta and Melilla over here. Okay, I'm not really interested in this political situation, but I am interested in this little area up here, which I found. And we have Andorra, which is a fiscal paradise. Okay, I talk about fiscal paradises with my students. People will go to, often YouTubers, influencers want to tax avoiders going to Andorra. However, did you know that you actually have, as Spanish people, I'll show it with this map. There's Andorra. Look at this little place over here. Livia. This is Spanish territory. Look at it. This is Spanish territory. Okay? Completely surrounded by France. Here's the border. Frontera's border. And this area here is completely surrounded by France. So I want to look into that. We were talking on Monday about getting information and the different levels of getting information. And look into it means to gather more information. So I'm going to look into it. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to Google. I'm going to find out research online. And if I'm going to, that's quickly how I can get information. I'm going to look into it. And then if I want to really, really get information, I'm going to dig into it. So I'm going to dig into the reasons why this area, in fact, is Spain within France. And if you are a bit of a nerd on these type of topics, a nerd, N-E-R-D, I think is un friki. So if you're a bit of a, in Spanish here in Spain, if you're a freaky or a nerd, you're into that type of stuff. A student of mine told me yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that there is in fact, this is Burgos, and there is a place in the Basque country, Treviño, which actually belongs to Burgos. So that's quite interesting as well. If you're a nerd about these things, somebody like me now, I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. No, I don't really care. But it'd be interesting to find out or to look into that as well. So somebody can get back to me on the reasons why. It could be... I have no idea. If you're a nerd, when you're a nerd about these things, often people say, when I was younger, being a nerd was... you were kind of bullied in school. You're probably very good at maths. You were like a bit geeky. But now they're kind of now at the age of computers, these words are seen as positive words. To be a nerd or a geek, I love to geek out on something. I love to geek out on computers. I'm a real map nerd, and it's kind of like just saying I'm really into that. I really like it, and it's seen as positive nowadays, thankfully. So if you're a bit of a nerd in that sense, let me know. I like that kind of thing. Right, so I'm going to move over now, and I'm going to look at our... no, what did I want to look at first? Yes, I wanted to look at this. Labour law 4-day workweek arrives in Belgium. Okay, what's going on then? Belgium employees can now choose between a 5-day or 4-day compressed week. Compressed is just to compress. It's probably the same in your language. Workers will still put in. To put in is to do. Put in the work, put in the time to do. The same amount of hours, either 4 9.5 hour days or 5 8-hour days. Unions are concerned the move will bring heavier workloads. It's the first EU country to formally introduce the option. Well, if this gets introduced in Spain, it's going to be basically workers will have an extra day holiday. Because what I can see here in this country is people work those hours anyway. So if the people here opt for that, they're just going to have a free Friday, which is good for a lot of workers. Because I see in this country here in Spain, people seem to have to work longer than expected. Not seem, they in fact do, without a doubt. Economy. Energy crisis to stunt European growth. To stunt your growth is to stop it. Something stunts your growth. It stops it. The OECD While the world is expected to avoid recession in 2023, the energy crisis is likely to slow growth, with Europe worst affected. The OECD has said the German economy is expected to shrink by 0.3%. I don't know why we say that, but it's normal to say 0 point. You can say 0 in an international set. English, or generally English speaking people, will say 0 point. And then if there's a 0 afterwards, we'll say, oh, I don't know, it's weird. 0.3% due to its reliance on Russian gas, but France and Italy are projected to grow by 0.6% and 0.2% respectively. I'm not sure, respectivamente. I imagine that exists in Spanish, so I'm not going to go into that. Mental health. Reflect on joyful moments to boost well-being, to kind of push. Paying attention to small but enjoyable experiences in the day, or joy snacking, can have powerful effects when it comes to our mood. Reflecting on the joy of a good cup of coffee or texting with a friend can increase our sense of gratitude and boost our subjective well-being. Yeah, I suppose so. If you kind of, we sometimes say in English, it's the small things in life. And the small things in life could be just a nice cup of coffee. My Americano. The quality is not the best, but it does the trick. Nice little expression for you there. It's not great, but it does the trick. It does what I want it to do, or it does what's needed to do. Maybe not the best quality. I was talking to my sister on the phone yesterday, and it's quite common, especially with the older generations, I include myself, that in the UK and Ireland, coffee we drank like from the sachet, which is the little packet, or the granules, let's say. So the older generation is used to bad coffee. All right then. Let's go to our next slide. Idea of the day: how to avoid adding to workplace holiday stress. Okay, I read this earlier. I need to really clarify what this means. Being vague, micromanaging, and not being mindful of others' deadlines can add workplace stress around the holidays when colleagues might take time off. Following up on someone else's work may sound like you are being diligent, but their feeling is that you are waiting for them to make a mistake. Set a deadline and let your colleagues meet it. Okay. So around the holiday period, people are trying to organize themselves, the holiday period being the Christmas period. Don't put pressure on your colleagues. They're probably trying to organize things. Just agree on a deadline for a delivery date, and then let your colleagues, let them do it. If you don't want to pressure them, you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. Again, I was talking about it yesterday. People who have children are trying to organize holidays, for example, large holidays here in this country and in other countries. That can be quite stressful, working out. My child talking to me the other day is already pestering me. Pester is like, Dad, I want this, I want this, I want this. This is to pester. So about Christmas. So it can be a stressful time of year for people. It can be for different reasons. But okay, organize a deadline and say, okay, that's our deadline. If you need any help, let me know. Don't micromanage. All right, today's debate: does your morning set you up for success? This is a behavioral strategist, Shade Zarai. Peak performers prime themselves for success through an empowering morning, including any of Gratitude. This increases dopamine, gratitude, and serotonin. Meditation, mindfulness, or prayer. These have positive effects on physical and mental health. Mindfulness and prayer. Motivating self-talk. This can enhance performance and mood. Exercise, physical activity, is scientifically proven to boost endorphins and reduce cortisol. Okay, I spoke about it before. There are people who talk about their 5 to 9, people waking up at 5, doing meditation, motivating themselves, doing physical workout before they start their working day, and it can be quite productive. And then, of course, it's a bit more tricky when you have kids, because you're trying to just maximize sleep before you wake up the kids, in my case. But I totally agree. If you can do it, good for you. Absolutely. We're going to leave that there. Okay. I wanted to talk about that part, about how you can kind of joy snacking. What can you do during the day to, we seem to be going from crisis to crisis all the time, but maybe, like it's just, like I say, it's the small things. Are a little cup of coffee during the day, joining me in the mornings could be nice. I'm actually want to talk to you guys about that, because I'm going to be moving across for a while, and I'm going to be going to the early afternoon to do these streams. We're going to go early afternoon. We're going to do it twice a week, so we can, for your convenience, as they like to say. This is something that was driving people crazy when I was living in the UK. There was this expression that they would put whenever something wasn't working properly, and it's a, for your convenience, the toilets will not be working, so we can improve them. And it's like, it's really an inconvenience, to be honest. You could, but everything was for your convenience before giving you the bad news. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going to just move across to a different time slot. But anyway, you guys can see the recording, and we'll see if it works out better for you guys to watch me at that time, rather than this early or at this time in the morning. So I'm going to now go across, and I want to look at our word of the day. So we'll start with a random one. We'll go slang of the day first. And what I need to do before I do is I need to move across and make sure we're on the right screen here. Slang of the day. It's hit and miss, this one. You never know if it's going to be useful or not. Gear. I spoke about this before. This is very, very, very useful. Okay, it's kind of slang, or just I wouldn't even call it slang, but very good English. This one, it means your equipment or your clothes. So, for example, my son carries all his band's gear in the back of his van, including the amps, the amplifiers, guitars, and even the drum kit. So, when it's the equipment that you need for music, it's or the band, it's the band's gear. You don't need to say the amps, the guitars, and when we're talking about the music equipment, we know what it is. It's the equipment, it's the gear. Another example, I really need some new gear for the trip to Vietnam. Most of my clothes are for cold climates, not the tropics. So if you say I need some new gear for Vietnam, I'm trying to, in my head, imagine what you're talking about, and then that will be the stuff that you need. Okay, it might be clothes and some other things that you want, a camera. It's just kind of the equipment, and it's a very, very useful word in English, gear. So if you're taking your bag to work and you've got whatever you need for your job in it, and I say, oh, don't forget your gear. Don't forget your gear. I won't say your equipment. I'll say don't forget your work. I'll say don't forget your work gear. Okay, very useful word. Do use it if you can. Let's go phrasal verb. Queue up. Okay. If you queue up, you join a line of people waiting for their turn to do something. Okay. For example, when we went to the queue, we had to queue up at the counter. This is something that you do in this country and in but you know, some countries don't really queue. It's a bit more tricky. I really like your style here in Spain of queuing, either a formal queue or asking who the last person is. It's really a really good one. You don't you hate it when you've been queuing up for a ticket and they run out just before you get to the counter? So to queue up, yes, is to make a line, to make a queue, to queue up or get in the queue. Yes. Yeah, I was very confused when I came to this country. For those of you who don't know, here in Spain, if you're not from Spain, in this country you have queues, but I could walk into a place like a bank, for example, and there will be no queue. So you'll see people at the counter, but you won't see a queue. And what that is here in Spain, you will ask who the last person is. So the last person, and then somebody will say, it's me. And then all you need to know is that you are after that person. And you can go and you can sit down, you can get yourself a coffee, you can go out quickly, do something. If you're going in to do some administration, that's going to take a while. So it's quite useful. And for Spanish people, I don't know if you guys know, but this doesn't really exist in other countries. Unfortunately, it's really great in this country. I really like it. I noticed in my country and in the UK, we used to queue for the bus and so on. You wait in the bad weather. You're just making a line. But as it became more and more foreign people in the country with different kind of cultures, for example, the idea of waiting in the rain was not appealing, and they would stand at the wall, and then the bus would come, and they just go with their own idea of, and you could see that the queuing has kind of changed. It's become different, and that's what happens in societies as it moves forward. So it used to be very orderly when I was younger, and now it's kind of changed. But that's the way it is. But I really do enjoy, like the Spanish system of la última or el último. Very useful, very useful. And that is to queue up. Queue. That's how you spell queue. Let's go back. What time is it? 9:05. 9:05. When you're saying times, just right. I think this is one of the most common things to and I'm going to keep repeating it for you guys. It's one of the most commonly searched things is how to tell time in English. Easy way. Always go to the nearest 5. Okay? So if it's 9:06 now, okay? So you could just say it's if you're going to use the past system and the to system, it's 9:05. It's 9:10. It's 9:15. It's 20 past, half past. Okay? Then you're on to the 2, 25 to, 22, quarter to, 10 to, 5 to. Okay, I would say that's a bit more for advanced or when you really feel comfortable. But I do recommend just saying, right now I can see on the clock it says 9:06. You can say it's 9:06, but I recommend just saying 9:06, 9:08, 9:15, 9:10. Just using the time like this, and even if you want, just going by fives, it's 9:05, 9:10, 9:15, 9:20. There really cannot be much confusion. Whereas when you start using all the half pasts and all this kind of thing, if you're feeling pressure and you're in a meeting and you're trying to quickly decide what time on Friday you're going to do, it can get messy. Use the system of it's 9:05, it's 9:10, at 9:15, at 9:23, at 9:42. Easiest system. You cannot really make a mistake. You can't. And the other ones, wait until you live in the country. That's my advice. Even I live here in Spain, and if I'm under pressure, I just say a las 9:45. If it comes to me quite simple, I say a las 10 menos cuarto. But if I'm a bit confused and I'm trying to do something pressure, say las 9:45. It's just easy. 9:45. That's my advice. We did phrasal verb idiom. Okay, at sea or all at sea. If you're at sea or if you're all at sea, I say all at sea. You're confused about something and not sure what to do. So I'm all at sea with our new spreadsheet software. I just can't understand. When you just really can't understand. For me, the idea is you're in the sea and you're kind of in the water and you're kind of helpless. You know, you've fallen out of the boat. You're helpless kind of in the sea. You're helpless, okay? There's nothing you can do. So that's the kind of visual I have in my mind with I'm all at sea. For the first few days in her new job, Gail felt totally at sea. She didn't know what to do or to ask for help. So if you're a bit confused about a software or what to do, you say, "Oh, I really don't know what I'm doing." You say, "Yeah, I'm all at sea. I really feel all at sea with this new software." That's a good one, yeah, and it's used. And we're going to go on to our saying of the day. Yes, I looked at this the other day. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Different people see beauty in different ways. What one person finds beautiful may not appeal to another person. Okay, that in Spanish was la belleza something. So you can really find these things quickly, okay? As I say, I'm in my dictionary right now. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay, there we go. La belleza está en los ojos de quien la mira. I say it a lot worse than you. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Another one is beauty is only skin deep. And I think I did that on Monday. So, yeah. If how long did it? It just took me I just needed a few seconds to do that, and we have a new expression. If you remember it, I've already forgotten it. La belleza está en... La belleza está en los ojos de quien la mira. That's going to be my one for today. And I'm going to try and repeat it to somebody. You know, they'll say something like, la belleza está en los ojos de quien mira. Yes, I got it right. If I remember that, it will be... I'm going to have to say it lots of times. Okay, so that was that. Yeah, there's something I want to talk about in relation to... management. The difference between a good manager and a leader. A manager and a leader. Let's see what the differences are. You see this often on LinkedIn or something, and people post it and people agree. So management versus leadership. And management is kind of seen as leadership is kind of seen as a better quality. So let's have a look. In management, you are at the head of a team. In leadership, you are part of the team. A manager gives directions. a leader asks questions. Manager convey orders from higher ups. Leader brainstorms with teams. Manager instructs. Manager, she will tell you what to do, and a leader will inspire you. Manager follows rules. A leader reinvents rules. Reinvents or reinterprets to make it more commonsensical, perhaps. A manager gives orders. A leader gives autonomy. This is what we were talking about earlier, like don't micromanage, don't be on top of people, let them have their time. A manager is an authority. A leader is an ally. An ally is like a friend. A manager focuses on day to day, and a leader imagines something in the long term. A manager has confidence in their roles. A leader has confidence in their teams. A manager is the one in charge. A leader is the one leading the charge. The charge, as you can imagine, at the front, charging on the horses, and they're like, come on, everybody, and the manager is there in front. Okay, the leader. A manager is assigned responsibility, and a leader intrinsic responsibility. Okay, it's within you. You feel it within you anyway. Manager is a title. A leader is a choice. Manager is power. Leader is influence. Manager seeks to be the best on the team. A leader seeks to bring out the best in the team. A manager is a job. A leader is a lifestyle. Manager maintains the status quo. A leader improves organizational performance. A manager makes marks on pages. A leader makes marks on people. It's to kind of leave an impression on someone. I remember that person, they inspired me. A manager says, this is what I think. A leader asks, what do you think? A manager says, call if you need me. And a leader regularly checks in and asks how to help. Reach out or check in. Yeah, okay, so you often see this, and I suppose the idea is if you are a manager, try and also be a leader. Try and also not be so different to your team. To manage the team, try and lead your team. So yeah, some good stuff there. Some good stuff. I think it's something that we should look at. I kind of remember when I was a teacher teaching younger children, I needed to leave the classroom sometimes, so I would let somebody be in charge of the classroom, and I just said to them, the main thing I said to them was, you need to make these the class, you need to make them like you. They need to like you. If they like you, they will listen to you and they'll feel happy with you. So I suppose a leader, just you want to be liked, but yeah, I don't know. That's probably a bad example, but yeah, you want to be kind of like a mentor and be a leader. Okay, I think it's good. I think it's good. Let me know what you think. Maybe it's just kind of one of these kind of things that is not realistic. I think it can be. So I want to jump over and I want to look at some soft skills that you can forge ahead with in your work. Let's go over here. Okay. So spending all your time perfecting technical skills with no focus on soft skills may not bode well for your career advancement. Let's look at the skills. Let's just jump in. This is from somebody called Archana Singh. And she said, master soft skills. Okay, so what do we need? So here are the top 5 underrated skills that will help you progress in your career. See if you agree. And the first one is empathy. Understanding the perspective of others allows empathetic people to work together in a team, which ultimately leads to better outcomes. Understanding the perspective of others allows empathetic people to work together in a team. So trying to understand the other person's point of view. Perhaps what's going on in their personal life as well, to be understandable of this situation. If you can ask people, like, get to know people, like, do they have children? Are one of their parents ill? Family problems, just their background. They might be living in the country for a short amount of time. They might be new. They might not have family. So, being understanding. Okay, that's nice. Adaptability. Whatever position you find yourself in, your objective should be to adapt and excel. As change is inevitable nowadays. Okay, before you could get comfortable, but now you have to adapt to new situations, new departments, new roles, and excel. Okay, really, we have an expression is hit the ground running. Okay, so when you fall and you land on the ground, as you land, you gotta run. You have to excel. You have to do very well. So be adaptable. Okay, time management. Put this at the top of your priority list if you want to grow in your career. Remember that you cannot do everything at once, so plan your tasks based on their importance. Planning, organizing your time, make it a priority. So that is time management. Could be useful if you're doing an interview. What's a good skill? And you could say, one of my best skills is time management. I like to put things in order of importance, so I know when I'm going to get them done and have that in place. Because could be a good response for you. Accountability. If you want to be a great leader, then you must learn to take full responsibility for the failures and challenges that may come. If you want to be a great leader, you must take full responsibility for the failure. Okay, don't blame other people. Take accountability. If it is your area, if it's your problem, if it's your fault, take accountability. Accept the responsibility and say, yes, it's my fault. Don't blame other people. Resilience. It is a skill that is often undervalued, but it is incredibly important in today's world. And this pandemic served as a useful wake-up call that resilience is necessary to deal with uncertainties. This could be, I was told, this could be what's happening in Twitter at the moment. Elon Musk is being a bit difficult with the employees, but someone was saying, in fact, what he's doing is he's seeing which of the employees are resilient, which of them are going to deal with this difficult situation in Twitter right now and get rid of all the people who are having an easy life or who have had been. So that's quite an interesting take. So just deal with the difficulties, stay strong, and you'll get through. Okay, so that's interesting. Soft abilities are frequently undervalued as they are challenging to quantify. But remember, in today's fast-paced, constantly changing workplace, mastering soft skills is crucial. So they are, her top 5 are adaptability, time management, accountability, and resilience. Okay, let's see if anybody else made a comment. 5 must have soft skills to succeed at any workplace. Confidence to take chances. Creative thinking, thinking outside the box. Emotional intelligence, it talks about your value as a human. Communication skills, more than just talking well. Teamwork. Okay, so there's a lot. There are a lot. And perhaps you can just try and work on one a little bit every day of the week, and then it becomes part of your skill set, you know. Communicate. How can I? Okay, I'm going to try and communicate better today. I'm going to try and be more empathetic today. I'm going to ask someone like, "Hey, um, how's your weekend?" Or, "Oh, do you play any sports, or do you have any hobbies?" Like, take an interest in someone's life, or um, confidence to take a chance. If you are in a meeting as a foreign person in an English meeting, just have the confidence to make one point or say something small. Good, yep. Okay, we're coming up to, well, it is 9:22. And I think I've covered most of the things today. There's one thing I didn't cover. This was about doing an internship. So this girl has said that an internship was useful for her. I did a couple of internships in my when I was in university as well. I think it can be useful. There is a big debate around internships because often they're unpaid. So it's like, well, how can you survive, you know? And often it's seen as a privilege to that your parents will support you while you do an internship. However, hopefully for the younger generation, they will be paid. How I started a 3-month internship with the company and was eventually asked to join the team officially. Okay. If you wish to convert your internship into a job too, here are some of my tips on how you can do it. So a lot of you guys will be doing internships. Let's see if these tips can be used by you. Number 1, showcase a strong work ethic and complete all your tasks perfectly. There's no better way than this of showing the organization that you love what you do and can't wait to do it in a better capacity. Okay. Showcase your strong work ethic and complete all your tasks perfectly. Number 2, network and establish good relations with your team, superiors, and so on. You never know who might put in a good word for you. To put in a good word is to say something good about you. Network, get around, talk to people, get them on your LinkedIn. Be thankful, ask if you can help. Okay, number 3, always take feedback and constructive criticism very seriously. Display your willingness to improve and learn. So if somebody gives you constructive criticism, they're trying to help, it's constructive, it's helping, take it and listen to it and understand that they could easily not tell you something, but they are taking the time to tell you. Okay. Number 4, be proactive and learn to take the initiative. Okay. If you're working on a team and the manager doesn't come in on time, you can sit at her desk or the other desk and maybe do some of the things that she or he does that you could do to help them. Take the initiative if you know that it's a common thing to do. Convey your interest. Let the team know you want to work with them and want a full-time permanent role in the company. Convey your interest. Okay, let them know. Let them know that you're not just there to let me go over there. Let them know that you are doing the internship, but you also would like to work for the company, because a lot of companies have interns and they're just filling in the time to put on their CV. It's not something that they want to maybe take too seriously, or they want to finish their studies. But if you want to work there, let them know and say, yeah, it's definitely looking for this to become something more permanent. So there you go. That's enough for today, I think. That's enough for today. I hope you have a good Wednesday, and I'll catch up with you guys on Friday. And then next week we're moving to a bit later on in the day. But that's it. Yeah, have a good one, and I'll talk to you on Friday.